Hi, everybody. Hello. I have an exciting show today. We are doing makeup with Jennifer Polt Robinson. So I'm going to let you guys start coming on. Hope this is enough light here. Hi. Hello. 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 Okay, so let me see. Guys. Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Big fan here, super fan.
Oh God, I don't know about that. None of that's all necessary. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm really good. I am clean faced and I did a little prep work on my skin, which does not consist of makeup. That's where you come in. I did a little red light therapy and I did a bunch of stuff. I saw your live this morning.
Oh,
So you're all made up.
I am. Yeah.
So how are you? Tell me, you have quite a busy schedule. I think you're doing 3 lives today.
Yeah, you're my last one.
Oh, okay.
It's Live-a-Palooza.
I love it. Well, I love your whole vibe.
Hey.
I love being welcomed into your woman cave and your age positivity and your 50+ skincare tips and makeup and you do things that are not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Not in my wheelhouse. I can get the skin ready for no makeup. I can get, do all the anti-aging tricks, but when it comes to like putting that kind of stuff on my face, I'm lacking the knowledge and I end up looking older.
Yeah. So tell me about that, because I saw you say something about that in your story. So I'm curious about that.
Well, I feel like every time I put on makeup, well, let me tell you first what my makeup consists of, okay? It's very, very simple. It's like skincare plus a tinted sunscreen, by the way. I'm not an affiliate marketer, but best in the world. A tinted sunscreen. Sometimes I'll do the Elta MD, which I don't seem to have here.
Yep.
By the way, I took my whole makeup drawer and I took all the little trays out and I brought them all in front of me. So it's gonna, I have and I did bring a trash can because I just have a really bad, I have a bad feeling. A lot of it's gonna go in the garbage. But that's what my skincare is. That's what my makeup is. It's a tinted sunscreen. It's an eyelash curler.
Good.
It's a waterproof mascara. It is a lip liner, which I love. This normally is this long, but it's hard to find these, so it'll get this short before I'll throw it away. Lip liner, and then a lipstick, which tends to be the same color as my lips. And sometimes, I will do a little bit of a brow pencil.
Okay.
Haphazardly. And then the rest is kind of a crapshoot.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll put on a little bit of color, and I have powder colors in terms of blush, and I've got the sticks. It's all so confusing. But the problem that I'm finding is when I, see myself close up. By the way, this is the only magnifying mirror that I own.
I love all these true confessions at the makeup table. This is amazing. I just feel like you're just getting it all out.
I am. I need help. And I feel like if I need help, I'm not the only person that needs help. So, but this is my only magnifying mirror, because with skincare, you don't need to see so up close, right? With makeup, you have to see up close. I lied. I have 2. So this is my travel one, which is out of it's. You're probably going like, what? Why am I on this show with this woman? This is my travel one that does not have the light is broken. So when I travel, I'll bring this without a light. And then for this purpose, I have this that was in a drawer. So that's my extent.
Got it.
So what I've found is when I put on makeup, because I use so much like retinoids and I'm always doing microneedling, there's a lot going on with my skin at the age of 55 in terms of maintenance and in terms of effective skincare, that when I put on makeup, it tends to make me look older.
Okay.
So I spend all this time on skin and then put this stuff on. I'm like, I look older.
Interesting.
Yes.
And
so I don't know if it's getting in the lines.
When you say you feel like you look older, like what does that mean to you?
It means without the makeup and without a magnifying mirror.
Well, listen, these MFers, these should be used to pluck your eyebrows, and then you need to get the hell up out of there, because these are not here to be your friends. They're here to get you fine-tuned tasking. That's it. And then get the F out of there. Don't use these to look at your face.
I love that.
Yeah.
I've been doing that without teaching, just because it's like, whoa, okay. Yeah. You get in there for an eyebrow, and then
that's it.
The rest is like,
the F out of there.
Get the F out of there. I love it. So, but I do find, like, I'd like to do something with, well, it's a big task. I'd like to put a concealer around my eyes, okay, because my eyes sometimes will get red, a little bit pink from all the retinoids and that kind of stuff. And then I'd like to brighten this area, because you can see it's a little dark. But when I do that, then it just kind of gets in there, and I feel like it accentuates the fine lines and wrinkles, and it definitely accentuates any flaking that I have going on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. So when you're using retinoids, yes, there's going to be that. There's going to be, when a retinoid is working, you're going to see kind of a peeling of the skin and the flaky skin. So part of that is also trying to, as you're using it, you also want to be able to kind of slough those things off before you prep with makeup. So some of the things that you're doing with your retinol and your retinoids, I would say use even if it's a muslin cloth, in the mornings when you're in the shower, just to buff off those dead skin cells, because that is part of it, is just kind of getting them sloughed off since they're on the surface.
Yeah.
So
I did do a 2-step peel this morning. Dr. Gross, he's got like a 2-step peel. So I did the little one thing, I left it on for 2 minutes, and I did a second one. And I do find that helps with the flakiness.
Yes. Yeah. And then you want to be careful, because so your retinoids, so the Dr. Gross peel pads, those are AHAs. And so you want to be careful with also not going too hard and fast with retinoids and AHAs and doing too much of it, because then the skin can go a little haywire. Yeah. So I come from a school of like more gentleness when it comes to approach to the skin. And so the retinoid piece, I think, is super important. I use one myself. I use that probably a couple times a week. But then I only do like my AHA stuff, my alpha hydroxy acids, those kind of things, glycolic, lactic, any of those acids, like once a week, and not days. So you just want to be careful there, just that you don't overstimulate the skin, because then the skin can get really ticked off at you, and then you get crazy dermatitis kind of stuff and those kind of, so just always be careful there.
Yeah, I tend to kind of, I err on the side of walking close to that too much edge,
Yeah. I have done that myself. And then I wound up getting some crazy dermatitis around my mouth that lasted for almost a year. So I always caution people, like, to be very careful with, you get a little cocky, which is what happened with me. I got a little cocky, and I thought I could just keep scrubbing away at my face. And then my face was like, screw you, bitch, knock that off. And then I got
Yes.
all this little all this little perioral dermatitis, which literally lasted for a year, and I couldn't hardly do anything with it. So I always recommend too that you get some kind of muslin cloth. Those are great to have.
Okay.
It's just a, like a washcloth, but it's made of muslin, which is a bit more just abrasive than like a regular cotton washcloth.
Yeah.
But that's a good way to just exfoliate without having to add another acid into your routine, which could screw up your
I like that. I like that. I do have a dry brush that sometimes if I have an event, I'll do like the peel, and then I'll take the dry brush and just kind of try to get off all the flaky stuff. But
Yeah.
I have, I did do a whole live on finding the right chemical peel for you. So make sure, those of you who are new to this channel, thank you guys so much for joining. Jennifer Polt Robinson, I mean, your handle, making up for gloss time. Brilliant. It just it just kind of really embodies everything that you do, with the age positivity and being over 50 and the makeup and the skincare. And so, yes, we're here to get help. By the way, for just one quick second, Jennifer, just let me apologize for a second, but I have a winner from last week's giveaway. We do a giveaway every week.
Oh, fun.
We do a giveaway every week because probably like you as well, you probably get a lot of products sent to you. I get a lot of products sent to me, and I'm trying to get away from affiliate marketing these days and get more into the education part of it.
Yeah.
So when people send me products, I'm like, can you send me two? And so I'll test out one and I'll give the other away. So the winner of this was I Am Skincare Girl. You were all over those comment sections, so you really upped your chance of winning it. So I will shoot me a DM and I will get your address and I'll put these in the mail. Up for grabs this week is by Prime Lash. This is lengthening and volumizing mascara. I have it in two colors, black and blue. Giveaway, people. This is a giveaway for free. I'll stick them in the mail. Your first task to do the giveaway is to invite 3 friends. If you see that little send button, the little arrow, looks like a paper airplane on that little bottom corner, hit that and invite 3 friends. You're automatically going to be in the giveaway. And then when I post this to my site, comment, and that increases your chances, and I'll stick these in the mail. Okay, back to my inability to apply makeup.
I want to answer a question I saw in the comments.
Okay.
I've just joined. Could you give your thoughts on permanent makeup for very fair girls? I have no pigment in eyebrows, eyelashes. Got it. I think, yeah, I'm not a huge proponent of permanent eyebrows, and that's just really a personal preference. I have found that over time I've changed my brow shape and I've changed the angle of how I do my brows, and so I'm glad that I didn't tattoo them or do them permanently in years prior. And that's just me because I like to play around with makeup and do different things, so that could just be the makeup artist in me. But I think that you could certainly, just even dyeing the hairs, and there are definitely eyelash tints that you can do with permanent, where they'll actually dye your eyelashes. So if that's what you're thinking about, yeah, for sure. And there are plenty of people who dye their eyebrows. Yeah. So many of us start getting grays in our eyebrows, and we throw some hair dye in them when we go to the salon. So that's certainly. But I think there's also ways that you can fake some of that stuff. There are colored brow mascaras that you can use that will give tone and color to your eyebrow hairs. So if you have like a decent natural brow in there, you can actually, I've got one on my table. This one's from Essence. They're inexpensive, but a lot of brands make them. Glossier makes them. A lot of brands do. Anastasia makes them, and they're tinted. So it could just add color, and then you could just even see if you like that look. Play with a couple of those, see if filling in your eyebrows or covering your eyebrow hairs with a tint makes that difference for you. And then you can, that at least gives you a feeling of, do I like this look? Is it for me? And then if you ever decided to dye your eyebrows, you'd know what you're dealing with.
And I have the same school of thought, which is I don't like the permanent tattoo for the eyebrow because of that reason. I think our eyebrow shape changes as we get older. And also, they're very harsh in the beginning. Yeah. So it takes a while for them to soften up. And I already have, strangely enough, darker eyebrows. But one of the better things that I think I've done in terms of like makeup because of my inability was I do have permanent tattoo on my eyeliner.
Oh, gotcha.
And part of that is because I just got tired of trying to do it and I wasn't really great at it. And, you know, your eyesight goes with age. So I'm 55. So it's a little harder to see things, you know, up close. And so I just thought like, I'm going to do and I've had it for, I want to say 20 years. Every once in a while, I'll go back in and get like a little touch up, but you still wake up, you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, I've got some eyes here, you know? Anyway. Okay. So what do you think? What should we, how should we start here? Should I just like, I want to like start putting on a little, so I was thinking like, maybe I could show you my, my concealers that my options for around my eyes. Okay. And then you could tell me if you have a favorite, and I'm going to try to do it. And then maybe we can see if I'm not blending it right or something like that. And Jennifer, do you do these kind of one-on-one consultations like this?
I do. I will be starting doing more of these. I've done these in the past, and now that I'm doing all my content creation stuff full time, I'll be able to have more time to be able to do this and actually set appointments with people and do virtual consultations. We've talked about master classes and group classes and that kind of thing too. So I certainly
love that. I'm looking into the same thing, but for like more of because I'm a gerontologist and a healthy aging coach. So mine is more like, yes, I do the skincare, but also how do you expand that health span and live, you know, as long as you can on the planet, but without free of disease and disability and all of that stuff. So I'm also looking into stuff like that, and I'll do one-on-one consultations with people and microneedle their whole face. Yeah. So you're doing it with makeup. So I just thought I'm going to take advantage of you right now on this live, and I'm going to start throwing some stuff on my face, and you could say yay or nay. So these are my options. Sorry, my stuff is very dirty and crusty, and you know, you can tell that I don't take care of my stuff, but okay.
And your stuff looks like a lot of people's stuff. But let me ask you before we start, what do you put on your skin skincare wise before you do all of your makeup?
I do a vitamin C serum. So I did all the red light, I did all that stuff. I do a vitamin C serum every morning. And then followed by an eye cream. Today it didn't seem like I woke up puffy today. So then if I'm puffy, I'll add a caffeine eye cream. Yeah. If I'm not puffy, I'll do a retinoid. This morning I used a Zeos Skin Health, which growth factor was just an all around great under eye cream. So, and I do that all around. And then I do a little exfoliation of my lips with the Nurse Jamie little pad thing. So I make sure I get those all scrubbed off. That's it. That's what I got.
Did you do a moisturizer, sunscreen?
No, no, I didn't, because I normally do my sunscreen in my makeup, but I can put a sunscreen on real quick.
Yeah.
If you want me to do that.
2 things. Moisturizer, I think you're missing in the routine, because vitamin C serum isn't going to give you enough moisture. And for me, when I do my makeup, I always make sure the skincare that you put on underneath will affect the makeup look just as much as the makeup will. So I always slather on really good skincare before I do my makeup, because that glow from the skincare will push through the makeup. Mm. And so sometimes when women say that I feel like I look older thing, a lot of it has to do with they feel like they lose their natural glow. And so I have a full face of makeup on, but I still am glowy because the skincare I've got pushes through that makeup and still makes it look like skin. And it doesn't take it and make it flat. Because like when you think of like a kid, you think of like a little kid, they're not matte. They're glowy and shiny and all of those things. So that idea of like what looks healthy, vibrant, youthful, I hate talking in those terms, but all of that is really around that kind of natural glow. So I would say a woman our age should not be neglecting moisturizer in the routine ever. Yeah. And any woman, any human period should not be relying on the sunscreen that is in their makeup to be the only sunscreen step that they do.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I had my other little thing here. If I'm going through the house, if I'm like in the house and I just decide I'm not going to do a tinted sunscreen makeup, and this is a factor 40, but I totally agree with you. I will just put sunscreen on and that's it. But when I put makeup on with a moisturizer, I feel like I can't get it to stay where it's going to stay. So should I just grab a moisturizer real quick and we'll get that?
Yeah, because then we should talk about textures of moisturizer and which ones you should use during the day versus the evening. Because I think that's the challenge too. Sometimes you reach for something that's too rich or too dense, and it winds up just, you put the makeup on, you feel like the makeup's disappeared.
Yeah.
So I always try to reach for like more water-based types of moisturizers during the day, because those won't break up your makeup. And then your more oil-based moisturizers you want to use at night.
Okay, I have that. What do you think about this primer? It's like a hyaluronic acid primer.
I used to use primers a lot. I don't use them a ton anymore. I think they're great if you need them. If you feel like, I think sometimes people who feel like they've got texture, or if they've got pores and they want to use a primer to kind of smooth everything out, then I totally agree. But I think, and oftentimes I don't find that I need a primer, but it really depends. I'm not super oily. I'm right in the middle. I'm not very dry or oily. So the primer doesn't do as much for me as it might do for someone who's like super oily and does a mattifying primer to start. So I really feel like sometimes the primers are there to address something that you might be trying to counterbalance before you do your makeup.
Okay, so all of these primers, which I haven't used probably in over a year. Well, this one is new, but I haven't used any of these. These could probably go in the garbage. Voila. Okay, woo! I'm gonna.
Does that feel good?
That's so good. I have like a whole extra section here. I'm gonna grab my moisturizer really quickly. I'll be right back. Jennifer, hold on.
Very glad, because some days I look baked face and some days it's fun to play with makeup and go all in. Absolutely. Okay, let's look and see if there's any other comments. Hi, Karen. Oh, okay. Good. Yeah.
It's a CeraVe PM, ultra lightweight. It's oil free, but it still has, the 3 essential ceramides, niacinamide, sorry. So it's helping lift the dark spots, and hyaluronic acid. So you know that it is moisturizing. Yeah. So I'm going to put this on. I thought about, like, should I do my makeup first and then have her tell me everything that's wrong?
No, better.
Yeah.
And this is more true to life. I mean, this is more true to the kind of consultations I do with people anyway, because I want to see how you do it. Because see, already, like, this is when you start to get that glow. You get the glow from your moisturizer. You have all of that, the circulation that, you're getting all of that circulation into the face as you put it on. Eye cream is super important to put on. So you don't need a lot of eye cream, but just like a little. So I think you said you've already done that. So the sunscreen piece, I want to revisit.
Okay.
So I know you talk about your tinted. So let me see you apply that.
Okay. I don't do any of the stuff here. I don't do any of this first.
Nope.
All right. And somebody just said you should put moisturizer down your neck. Oh, yeah. I have. Yeah. Because I knew I was putting on makeup. I moisturized the whole thing. I put a sunscreen on, which I think that today I used like a L'Oreal, which was a moisturizing factor 25. And then I put the Elta MD factor 44 over the top. So that's
you're all
here already.
Perfect.
I got that down.
So to answer your question, I think it was a good question about why am I not doing concealer first? Why am I doing foundation product first? Here's the thing. This is where the overdosing happens. The overdosing of product, because your foundation is going to take care of a lot of the coverage that you probably need.
Yeah.
And then the concealer should be there to only add an extra layer of coverage where the foundation didn't quite cut it. So when we do concealer first, a lot of times we wind up overdosing on product and we put too much product on the face. And that's where we start with the creasing and the lines and the this and the that. So I want you to, okay, so here's the problem with this. So you are relying, before you put it on, you are 4 tiny little drops. I want you to know something. Your sunscreen, you should have a 1/4 teaspoon of sunscreen on the face. Yeah. So the 4 drops are not that's better, but I want you to think about what a 1/4 teaspoon looks like. I mean, when I do when I do sunscreen, this is a 1/4 teaspoon. And so not a lot of people are putting this much foundation product on the face.
No.
So if you are relying on your foundation product that has sunscreen in it to be the only sunscreen protection you've got, you're probably not putting enough sunscreen on. And that's why I always do it as a separate step, regardless of whether or not you have sunscreen in your foundation product. Make sense?
Yes.
Because not a lot, because then if you decide that, okay, I want to use this foundation product and I want to put as much that I need in order to get the sunscreen protection, you're going to overdose on too much product on the face.
I think that that's my problem all along. I think that
your dosage, Darnell. I think it's just dosage for you.
Really?
And that's why older. It's just you're putting too much product.
Okay, get my trusty magnifying mirror here. See, I don't know.
Yeah, so I almost feel like, you know, I think the Ilia product is beautiful, and I've seen that product. I think it's gorgeous. I just wouldn't rely on it for your sunscreen protection. So I would always still do a separate sunscreen, layer, period, end of story, sunscreen product. And then just use that where you need, because here's the thing, not a lot of women need a full coverage anything all over the face. What winds up happening time after time, and so many clients I've worked with, they sit in the chair, they point at one melasma spot on their cheek, and they're like, I need full coverage foundation. And I'm like, why? Like, well, I need to cover this. And I'm like, okay, that's just in one part of your face. The rest of your skin is actually really beautiful. We're just really worried about this one spot on the face.
Right.
And so I think a lot of people get hung up on like one flaw, and they think in order to cover that, I've got to use one product to do the whole face.
Yeah.
So for me, I always am I typically use somewhere between 2 and 3 different types of foundation products, whether it's a concealer or a tinted serum or whatever.
Really?
In different areas of the face. And I know a lot of people will roll their eyes at that and be like, I just want one foundation that does everything, and I get it. But what I think it does is that's how you'll get skin that looks like skin, and you won't get skin that feels like a mask, because you're going to use a lighter coverage only in the areas where you just want it to just perfect and just kind of, you know, maybe make some pores look a little softer or make little redness go away. And then you just go into the areas where you feel like you need a little bit more with the concealer piece. And then you're only placing it where you need it, and you're not canvassing the whole face and taking it down to look like a paper plate only to add color back onto it again, which requires more layers of makeup and more coverage and more things. So golden rule, texture draws attention to texture. So the more layers of stuff you're putting on the face, the more it's going to point arrows at the stuff that you're trying to diffuse attention away from. So when everyone's like, oh, if I put my makeup on, I see all these lines that I don't see when I have makeup on. Well, that's when you peel back on the amount of product and the amount of texture. And someone asked, how do I avoid creasing under eyes and on the eyelid? A lot of that is dosage. Women see these stupid, you know, they see some, not stupid, sorry. Some, you know, so many of us have seen some of these things where they're drawing a big triangle under their eye with concealer and they're blending it out. Okay, that's great. When you're 20, you have no lines under your eyes. But when you get to a place where you've got some texture, you've lost some volume or a little bit crepier here, all of that product, all it does, it brightens, but what it winds up doing as you get closer to the skin is it draws attention, and it has nowhere to go. And so the lines start moving, and then the product starts building up, and that's where you get all those little crease lines under the eye.
Yes.
So the least amount of product that you need, the least amount to get the desired result is what you should be doing.
I love that, because now I know I'm doing the exact opposite.
And you're not the first one to do it. That's why I want to be like, pause. Like a lot of people were taught, like, reach for the concealer first, and that's where we go wrong. And you'll see a lot of influencers and people on the, you know, that's great, but they're under high def, like high lights. They've got 3 different lights on them, and in the real world, when you see someone like that in person, they've got a shit ton of makeup on their face. But it doesn't look that way on camera. And then your skin texture plays a role, and if you've got fine lines, it plays a role, and all of those pieces come together. So when we do something light and just putting it just where you need it, that's that's that still looks like skin, and you won't feel like you've aged yourself with your makeup.
Okay. So should I love all of these tips. I feel like, well, I'm going to go back and watch this live. I know it's going to be posted on my channel afterwards, but I'm going to go back and watch this with a pen and paper and write everything down.
Good.
Do you have like a protocol or anything like that where if people sign up for your newsletter or they sign up for something that you've got your favorite products? Like which one of these is great? Which one for a concealer?
Tell me which concealers you have right now.
I have the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Concealer.
Got it.
In, I don't know what color. I'd have to get a magnifying glass.
No worries.
And then I have the Ilia True Skin Concealer.
Okay.
Again, if somebody wants to color, I can let you know. And
No
then
worries.
I have Dermablend Professional Cover Care.
Okay. I would say Dermablend typically is going to be really high coverage, really full coverage. Dermablend is a brand that people use for bruising, to cover tattoos, to cover, port wine stains on the skin. Dermablend is one of those products that has been known for years. It's like, you want to freaking cover. So for me, I and that may be a formula that I don't know of, and it might be a lighter formula, but that brand was built around full coverage, which I don't think you need.
Going in the garbage. Okay. Yeah. Now we're between these two, the Ilia or the Huda Beauty.
Okay, so when you swatch those two on your hand, what do they look like? Describe them to me.
When I swatch them,
like
a paint swatch,
a little bit on the back of your hand, like a little swatch.
Okay, so this lighter one is the Huda Beauty, and this one is the Ilia.
Okay, and texture-wise, how would you describe them? Are they different?
Yeah, I think this one is creamier.
Mm-hmm.
This one is thinner.
Got it.
This has a thinner kind of consistency, the Huda Beauty, and this one is a little creamier.
Okay.
Like, I think it's maybe I'm doing well. See, my face skin is a little different color than. I think if I had to, I mean, I don't know. I think that this is a little creamier. I think the Ilia is a little more coverage. Wow, I've had this hand and I've had these products and I've never done this before. And and it seems like, well, why haven't I done that to find out which one is thinner? I guess because, Jennifer, I didn't know that I needed a thinner product.
Yeah, it's not even about the thinner product. I wanted to just get an idea for, like, does one feel like it's more full coverage? Does one feel more matte? Does one feel glowier? Like you said, the one feels creamier. So I'm already leaning toward that one to begin with.
You're leaning towards the creamier one or towards the thinner one? This is creamier and more coverage. This is a bit thinner.
I don't feel like you need a whole ton of coverage under your eye. So so don't do it, but describe to me how you usually, when you do your concealer, how much do you use and where do you place it? I
do a little dot here,
Good.
A little dot here,
Good.
And then a little dot here, because nobody has a symmetrical face, you guys. Yep. So I sleep on this side, which that's a whole other thing. Shouldn't be sleeping on my side. I've been trying. But so I've got a little more of a nasolabial fold on this right side. Yep. So I do a little bit here, dot, 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 dot. And that's it. Perfect. Unless I've got something weird that has popped up on my face that needs to be covered, but I don't think so.
Good. So yeah, to your point, if that's what you're trying to do, when you said earlier you want to try to brighten, kind of open things up, then that's what I would say. I would be putting the dot in that inner corner there, in this little divot that's created by the bridge of your nose, one on either side.
Oh my God, I'm nervous. I'm like, show me.
We're just doing makeup. Perfect. Yep. And then the outer corner, like right in here, because that's where a lot of people get pigmentation, a lot of redness. So that outer corner is great. So your instincts were great. And then where you were thinking too, in that one area, especially since that's a lighter concealer, that will help to brighten up that area. Perfect.
I could do a tiny bit right there.
You could. Yep. Good. Now step away from the concealer. Good. And then do you blend in colors? Do you blend with usually do?
So I'm not great at blending, but here's like, I have this, you know, the beauty blender thing. I think that's what it's called. But sometimes I will also use like foundation brush.
Okay.
Which is your preference?
So the larger foundation brush is going to be a little bit tougher because the idea of when you place concealer, you're kind of placing it in precision places. So then if you go in with a big brush and kind of blend it all out, you're not really getting it targeted exactly where you wanted it. So
Okay.
blenders,
Is this an option?
that could be an option.
So this is not an option. This is more for full face.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So let me try, am I just patting it in, right?
And,
I'm not rubbing it.
Have you used your beauty blender wet before? Do you ever dampen the beauty blender?
No.
Okay, so those are designed to actually, are you near a water source? Okay, I want you to get that thing soaking wet, and then I want you to squeeze out every drop out of it. It's going to expand to like twice the size.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Yep. See if there's any other questions while we're sitting there. Jennifer, your skin looks amazing. How do you look after your skin? I have a ton. Hi, Lucy. I have a ton of tutorials around skincare, and I talk about skincare and things all the time. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jen. I've spent the last 10 years in the beauty industry. I was an executive for a couple different brands. I started in the beauty industry in my late 20s. I've always been a product junkie fan, whatever. But I've spent the last 10 years of my career working as an account executive for Laura Mercier. So I have some background in beauty, but I've always been like a junkie, get the Allure magazine, go buy all the products. So I have a ton of stuff, and I've probably used a lot of the brands that you know of. So I talk a lot about skincare. We talk a lot about makeup and how to do application. We do fashion stuff, but it's all really around, just ageless style and beauty and confidence that comes from taking care of yourself. So Lucy, I've got a ton on there about different skincare that I use. I've done a ton of different videos with some of my favorite products. And every Saturday I do a live where I do my makeup live and chat through tutorials and makeup and skincare questions and all that fun stuff too. So
is that at a set time every Saturday?
Yeah, every Saturday I do at 11 o'clock, which is my public community live at 11 a.m. Eastern time, because I'm on the East Coast. And then I also have a subscription group that we meet at 12 noon Eastern time on Saturdays. So all of my subscribers, I call them VIGs.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm looking into. In fact, I'm going to do a live tomorrow that's just a Q&A, and I'm going to launch that kind of community and Instagram of subscribers, because you can get a lot more personal and a lot more coaching, but on a public forum. So sure. That's really cool. So people could go to your live every Saturday and then hop on over to mine, or join your club and then hop over to mine. We'll still be fine. Okay.
Okay. See the difference in size.
It got really big.
Yeah. So that's what they're supposed to be used for. The idea is that you get them really wet, squeeze out all the water, and then we just want to just pat and bounce that into the skin. You got it.
Bounce, bounce, bounce.
Yep. And now here's the other thing. When you were talking about your retinoids and the peeling and all of that stuff, I talk about this a lot. Having a sponge like a beauty blender, my personal favorite, I use something similar. These are from Eco Tools. They're less expensive, and they're also biodegradable.
Oh.
You can put these. I like this one. It has a little bit of a beveled edge, which I kind of think is cool, because then you can get like underneath and all of that.
That's what I need.
These are my other favorites to use, but the same thing. You get them good and wet, and then what winds up happening, the reason you get them wet is because a lot of times if you don't, they wind up just absorbing all the stuff you just put onto the face. And the sponge sucks up all the product into the sponge, but when it's wet, it keeps the sponge from absorbing all of the makeup. Beautiful.
How much is how long am I doing this for? Because I feel like
blend it in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like that's one of the major things that makeup artists talk about. If you were to say, like, what's the one mistake? I don't mean to be negative, but what's the one mistake? Only because I have so many mistakes here. But what is the one mistake that you would think that like people constantly make? Is it the
I think there's two mistakes that at least women of our age make two mistakes. One, too much product on the face and going matte when they should be going glowy. And then the other piece is not blending enough.
Yeah.
Everything. Eyeshadow, foundations, blushes, not doing the blend process.
Not doing the blend
and not having, you know, not having good tools to blend with.
I think I need that tool.
Those little sponge applicators, just as soon as you get the palette, just take them right out and get rid of them, because they don't do you any favors.
So like, I don't need this.
No, that's okay.
Oh, is
those are
it?
good. I mean, sponge ones. You know the little sponge tip ones that you get with an eyeshadow palette? It's a little sponge with a handle.
Yes.
They don't blend worth a damn.
They don't blend worth a damn. Okay. Okay. I think I'm blended.
Yeah. I think you look great. The skin looks fresh. You've got a nice glow. Still looks full. Still looks like skin. And when I say youthful, I'm not sitting here trying to make it 25. I mean healthy, vibrant, you know, natural, glowy. I think that's the thing. We remember our grandmas when they break out that pancake makeup, like that real heavy,
Yes.
and everyone was so. It's like the absolute reverse as you get older. It's that idea of peel back on how much product you actually apply, and also really lean into the formulations and how they feel texturally. Is it glowy? Does it feel creamy? Does it feel hydrating? Does it look flat? I would skip it. Some people love a matte look. I just personally, I think it can age you unnecessarily.
Even with eyeshadow, do you feel like matte, like a shimmery eyeshadow is better than a matte?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
And I think a lot of women feel the reverse about eyeshadows. They feel like they have to go matte as they get older because we get a little texture on a lid, and now all of a sudden everyone has been told, well, you know, you shouldn't wear shimmers because that draws attention to the texture. Here's my take on that. I mean, yes, like if it's a high metallic with a lot of, you know, just a lot of metallic, yes, it's going to draw attention to texture. But if you love it, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
The other piece of it is there's so many, like when we were kids, metallic eyeshadows were one type of texture only. And now the textures have gotten so much more finer milled. They're so beautiful. They don't have to be chunky glitter like our kids' makeup. It can be very fine and just illuminating without feeling like it's a real high metallic that might draw a lot of attention. So there are different textures of shimmers and metallics that you can play with in eyeshadows to get still that beautiful and bright look, but not have to go full-blown metallic if you feel like that draws more attention to your texture you want it to. But my feeling is everyone feels good when they feel good about what they're wearing. And if you love metallics and you want to wear hot pink lipstick, then freaking wear it. Like,
I love that.
Rules and bullshit. I think it's all bullshit to keep us second guessing ourselves and our instinct about what we love and what makes us feel good.
Yeah.
So wear love.
I love that. I love that. Wear your freaking glitter if you want to wear glitter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what do you think is what would be your next step now?
Okay. So do you do blush, bronzer? Do you do any of those things?
I have this bronzer palette by Youngblood.
Okay. Pretty.
Occasionally I will take this brush.
Okay.
And
those are.
Is this good?
Are those powder bronzers?
Yeah. Is that not a good thing?
Here's a question: do you own much cream, like by way of bronzers or blushes? I know you said something about sticks.
I have these sticks. I don't know if they're, so this is, oh my God. This looks like, oh, this is a highlighter stick.
Good.
Okay. Then I've got this stick, which I guess it's called Whisper. I guess this is blush.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And then I've got this little bit more mauve-y stick, but I don't think that this I don't think that this is a bronzer. So these are my 3 sticks. And
Beautiful.
Sometimes when I want to put a little blush, I will put a little on the apple, and then I'll use this thing to blend it in, to just kind of pat it in.
Okay. Okay. Good. So the same brush you're using for foundation, you're also using for blush, you're using for everything, yeah? Okay.
I mean, I have this.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, I might suggest that you separate at least the blush brush from the foundation.
Okay, I have two of these. So what if I did this one for this one for foundation and this one for like a color, like a blush?
I would probably do the reverse. I'd use the more rounded one for your blush and the flatter one for your foundation if you ever wanted to use something for foundation.
Okay. All right. I'm liking it. Okay. And no powder. I don't need any powder of any sort.
No. I mean, do you get very oily during the day?
I mean, sometimes in the T-zone, but not to the point where somebody would say like, oh my God, your skin's so oily. Nobody would say that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, my take on powder is if I do ever use powder, I only spot powder. I only put it exactly. I don't do powder all over the face. I think there's this all over the face that everybody wants to do. Same foundation all over the face, powder all over the face, bronzer all over the face. You don't need it. If you feel like you get really oily and your face slides off during the day, then I might say powder, because powder will help set it and keep it better in place.
Okay.
But if you feel like for the most part you don't really get too oily, and if it's a little T-zone, and that, I mean, you could always spot powder on the T-zone area if you want to take down anything, shine there. But what I typically do is I spot powder. So I get like a smaller, you know, more exact powder brush as opposed to a big fluffy one and just do this whole shebang. Little teeny one here. Like if you get a little, okay, I get a little shiny around my nose, then I might just powder around my nose and call.
So looking at I have this little brush.
Uh-huh.
Now, normally what I would do, Jennifer, which I know now is a big mistake, is I would take like a little bit of a banana powder, like a yellow powder, and do over the top of where I did. I knew that was a wrong mistake.
Put it in the can.
Put it in the can. Okay. Put it in the can. Okay. So
the yellow based powders, all of those things really came into trend with a lot of these influencers that were doing the sauteing and the double dipping, twice baked potatoing, and all the things to the face. And the problem is, again, these techniques look great on someone who's 25 and doesn't have a wrinkle, and it looks great when you've got 17 lights on your face and a ring light and all kinds of shit. And then you go out in the real world and you look like someone smeared Dorito dust underneath your eye. It's not. So I'm not a fan, clearly. I don't think, and here's the thing, I think we get hung up on all these techniques and we feel like we have to mimic them and do all the things.
Yeah.
And it makes me bananas when I watch some of this. I'm like, if she didn't cover her whole face with foundation and mat it out, she wouldn't be trying to put dimension back into her face with makeup. Yeah. Like there's some natural things that you can do to create highlight and contour without ever having to put makeup on your face.
Okay, I'm loving it. Yeah. Okay, so far, this would be then if I were to just spot, which I don't know, but let's just assume.
Yeah.
Done. Okay, so then if we're gonna add color.
Okay, let's do a little of your, let's do cream blush. And I would, if I were you, I would lean toward a cream bronzer moving forward if you'd like to do bronzer, or a liquid bronzer as opposed to powder.
Do you have a favorite cream bronzer that you like?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's the Chanel one, the Le Beige cream bronzer. These guys.
You guys repeat. I'm going to have to repeat it so I can write it down.
These guys.
What?
There's 3 different shades. It's cream based. It's fantastic. You can't F it up. And there's 3 different tones now. So you can get one for fairer skin. You can get one if you're deeper. It's fabulous.
Or somebody's just asked, have you heard of Givenchy under eye concealer for mature skin?
I have heard of it. I have not used that one specifically. So I don't have an opinion to give you on that one. Sorry. Oh, just lost the sound. I'm sorry.
Oh, are you there?
I lost the sound there for
Do you have a favorite under eye concealer that you love?
Yeah, I have a couple that I really love. I use a few different ones. And all of this, a lot of the products that I'm recommending, gang, I have and if you go to my Instagram page, at the top, there's a little bubble that says Glam Store. If you tap on that, I have a whole shop in there with like favorite blushes, favorite whatevers, favorite Chanel products, favorite this. So there's different shelves for different things, cleansers, toners, concealers, foundations. And for me, I recommend products that I think are going to be good for women 40 and older, humans 40 and older. Anyone who wears
40 and older. I love that. I almost call this makeup for mature humans.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so out of these two,
okay, so I think they're actually both really pretty. I think they would actually be pretty mixed together too. So they could be.
Let's do that.
Yeah. So I would even just skip the yeah. Before you do that, one quick tip. When we do this and we smile and we stick it here, that's great until we're not smiling, and then everything drops. So in order to keep the face looking lifted, I wouldn't put it directly on the apple. I'll just go a little north of the apple. So like on this high point of the cheekbone, right where the apple
here.
Yes.
Do I make a
Beautiful.
line?
No,
I think I make a line.
Kind of like dot it in, and then I would just tap it out with your finger and just kind of just give it that real pretty tap out, because the warmth of your fingers too will help to melt it.
Ooh, you know what? It does kind of lift that side.
It sure does.
Which one am I using? Oh, I'm using this one. I want to make sure I'm using the same on each side.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful.
So you don't need like the little brush to do that.
No,
you
I
can
would
just use your finger.
No, I think those sticks are kind of designed to be really easy, and the warmth of your skin will, of your fingertips will help it to just melt into the skin, and just gives it a really pretty blend. And the thing that you were mentioning earlier about retinoids and the peeling, whenever you can use something like a sponge to press makeup into the skin, or use your fingers to press the makeup into the skin, you'll avoid fluffing the skin with a brush. Because a lot of bar peeling, or if you have acne and you feel like you're a little dry, you've been doing some kind of things for, you're on Accutane or something, you've got some dryness. When you use a brush and you're doing this, all you're doing is you're kicking up all of that texture. So if you feel like surface wise you're a little dry and sloughy, then it's nice to use some of the sponge ideas and just press things into the skin, because it won't kick up all that texture.
I love it. I love it. Okay, do I need this one, but for any reason?
You could do a little highlight. Let's do this. Rub it, rub the top of it on your middle finger, get a little bit on there. Okay. And then I would just put some like right in here, just right at that high point. Yep. So the idea of highlight, I want you to think about like there's a light bulb over your head. And the places that the light would naturally bounce off the face are the high points of the face. And that's where highlight should go. So that's a really pretty place for us, because it'll also add that lifting effect of the makeup. Beautiful.
Do you ever do it on your nose?
I don't really.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do. I feel like it's another thing that a lot of people did, this tip of the nose highlight. I don't get it. But that's just me.
I know. My nose is super small. If it were any smaller, I don't know if I'd be able to breathe, so I don't need to highlight that. Okay, so let's move on to like do we do eyes now? I feel like I need a lip.
Sure.
Can I do my lip just in case we have to? Now, do you overdraw your lip line?
I think you have a really pretty and full lip line. My top lip is a little skinny, so I give her a little extra boost. But I know we all are. And do you feel we all have a preference on how we like our.
Yeah.
Depends. If I'm going to do a gloss, then yeah, a lot of times I'll fill in with the liner and do a gloss over the top. If I'm going to do a lipstick that's pretty much the same color, I don't feel the need to.
I don't do like I don't know. I'm one of these people that it's not like I'm afraid to experiment. I just feel like when I experiment with more color in the lips and more color on the eyes, I start looking like I'm playing dress up. It doesn't look more like me.
I get that. I think a lot of it is texture. I think a lot of times people get scared of more color because they think it's got to be a bright matte red lipstick. You can get color to the lip with a sheer formulation, like a more balmy kind of texture can give you that color to the lip and that beautiful sheen and that beautiful plumpness look to the lip without feeling like here comes my lips.
Yeah.
So always like if you're wanting to try color and you're scared to try color on the lip, you've only ever worn nudes, then get like a lipstick meets lip balm type of texture where it goes on more sheer. Then you get that like real pretty bitten kind of juicy look to the lip, but without going like full blown. It's got to be highly pigmented color.
that's kind of what I do. And also too, you can apply it in the dark. Like
Yes.
I like lipstick that you can apply in the dark without having to think about it. This one by Ilia is called Hold Me. Again, I'm not an affiliate or anything like that, but it is one of those that you kind of feel like it's a balm with a little bit of color.
Lip balm with intention, I call it.
Yes, I love that.
And those
okay, so
textures are going to be really good too if you feel like you've lost volume in your lip and you're trying to make your lip look more plump. Then the same rules apply. Anything that's more glowy, anything that's reflective is deflective. So anything that has glow will make that lip look a little bit fuller and plumper. So if you're reaching for something that's dark and matte, all that's going to do is do like what black pants do to your ass and make it look smaller. So if you're trying to make your lips look bigger, you want to do something that gives you some color, but also gives you some sheen, because that glossiness will make the lip look fuller.
I love, so a darker lip will make your lip look smaller.
Yep. It's the black pants of lipstick.
I love that.
Dark and matte, it can really just optically make the lips look smaller. So if you're struggling with that, you feel like you've lost volume, you don't want to put filler in, you don't want to do those things, which you totally get, then reach for things that are a little bit more mid-tone, a little bit, still give you color, but also that have a sheen to bounce light, and it'll make them look fuller just optically.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so now I'm looking, so you don't think I need any well, because I need to get that stick that's going to be the contour. I don't need any of this.
I wouldn't, and I also feel like some of those look a smidge warm to me, and I don't know that you have a lot of warmth, and I almost feel like those are going to come up looking a little too yellow, honestly. So they're different, there are cooler undertones of bronzers, and there are warmer undertones.
Okay.
Sometimes, yeah.
The one that you suggested, your favorite bronzer that you suggested, that's the cream one. Is that on, I'm assuming that's on your,
it is
on your links of products. Okay. I'm going to be hitting that. Okay. So let's move on to eyes, if that's okay. This is what I have.
Okay. I think every woman should have a good period.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Doing makeup should have a good neutral palette, just in general. I think that's super pretty.
This one fell out. You can tell I use this every day, just as like the base.
We all have that. Like there's that one color we use to the pan, and then the rest we use occasionally.
Yeah. And then I use this in the crease. And then
good. So
sometimes if I'm feeling fancy, I'll add a little bit of this shimmer to the inside corner.
Pretty.
Okay. Should I just try it, and then you can tell me in what way am I messing up here?
Sounds good, and I'll answer some questions.
Yes, that's great.
For dark circles under your eyes. So dark circles under the eyes oftentimes are hereditary. So the pigment that you're getting under the eye can often be hereditary. So if you look at your dad, he's got dark circles and you've got dark circles, and they don't change whether or not you've gotten a ton of sleep or no sleep or had martinis or didn't have martinis, then this is just a hereditary. So when we're dealing with dark under eye circles, it's basically a pooling of the blood underneath the eye. And because the skin underneath the eye is so much thinner, that's why you're seeing it so much more. So with dark circles, obviously you want to keep it hydrated, but there aren't really a whole lot of products like eye creams that are going to make a reduction in that pigment. The pigment is the pigment. So what I would suggest is something that's called a color corrector, and color correctors will help bring that pigment back to neutral. So it's different than a concealer in that it is adding, so for instance, if you're very dark under the eye, you'd almost want to use something that almost looks apricot, because what that will wind up doing, actually, it's almost like having to opposite ends of the color wheel. It will bring that color back to neutral, so that when you do a little bit of concealer over the top, you won't have to use nearly as much product to try to cover that darkness, because it will help to kind of negate the pigment. So great brand for color correctors, I always recommend Bobbi Brown, because she's got a ton of them. She's got all different formulas. They come in a stick form. They're really easy to use. They're creamy, all of the things. So I would start there, and then you won't have to use as much product over the top.
I don't know. Is this too much? I feel like it's too much.
Okay, I feel like there's some blending we need to do. Okay. So do you have a clean brush that doesn't have product on it to blend? Like fluffy or something.
Like a fluffy brush. I have like this.
Yeah. I mean, I say, you know, one thing, if you don't have a brush like this, I think every woman should have this type of brush in her kit.
This one?
Like a little, yeah, that's good. Yep. And just make that the brush you use just to kind of blend stuff. And like, yep, all these little swirly kind of blendy, 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 blendy. Yep.
Blendy, blendy, blendy.
Because in my mind, I think the most flattering eye look is one that's very blended, where it just kind of sunsets one into the other and you can't really see where one color begins and ends. That's a naturally flattering look on everybody.
Ooh, it's like, you know, when you, if you've ever remodeled a house and then you get to like one room looks great, you get to the next one, you're like, wait, this looks like crap now. So now I'm like, I have no eyes. My eyes have like disappeared.
Yeah. I think the other thing too that I'm feeling, Darnell, is that I wonder if you would do, so the warmth is really pretty with the color of your eye because it really makes the color of your eye pop. But I almost feel like maybe we could look at transition shade for you. So this kind of shade that's a little bit north of your natural crease, we call transition shade. We might look at a transition shade that's just a little cooler in undertone and not as warm. So you might not have it in that palette, but you might need to look for a palette that has a little cooler base undertones. Because I feel like when I see you, I see a lot of coolness, a lot of like pinkier kind of undertones. Yeah. And so I almost feel like I want to see what that would look like with you if you use something that leaned a bit more cool toned.
Interesting. I mean, I have, that looks so dark. Look, I've never used it.
Really dark. So those could be really great as like just smudged at the lash line, like eyeliner, smoky, soft, smudgy looks at the lash line, because those seem to have a lot of pigment.
Yeah. Should I do that?
Oh
my God, I'm gonna like.
I wouldn't, because you've got conflicting undertones now. The ones you've got on right now are warm based, and that seems to be a bit of a cooler undertone palette.
Okay. Should we look at like the eyeliner situation?
Yeah,
I can show you what so this is my favorite mascara. I have a new one just because I know that you're going to tell me to throw it this way. This is a waterproof Dior in brown.
Why do you use waterproof?
Because I feel like it's easy for me to take my mascara off because I have a you know, one that's used for long wearing mascara, but I just felt like with everything going on and with all the skincare, that if I don't use a waterproof, that I end up like having to like get it out from underneath my eyes throughout the day. Do you not use a waterproof?
I don't. I use tubing mascaras, and tubing mascaras will change your life. If you've never heard of them or used them before, and anyone who's here from my community is going to laugh because they're going to be like, here she goes. She's going to talk about tubing mascaras because they're
Please tell me.
There are two types of formulas in mascara. You've got your regular traditional formula that you're used to using. Your Show is one of those formulas. It's a traditional mascara formulation. Yeah, I see the hearts, you guys. I know you're laughing at my mascara. I'm always on a tubing mascara. Tubing mascaras are a little bit different. They have polymers in them that actually form little tubes on the lashes. You can't see them with the naked eye. It looks like I have a tubing mascara on right now. It looks like a normal mascara, but what's cool about a tubing mascara, they don't flake and they don't smudge. So a lot of times when women get the smudge under the eye or we get the smudge up here, it's because whatever oily business we've been using around the eye, whether it's cream shadows or our concealers or our eye creams or whatever, the oils in those products are what are breaking down your mascara on you and making it smudge. Most of the time, it's not the problem of the mascara. It's the crap you've put on around your eye that is actually breaking up the mascara and causing it to smudge as you blink and wink all day long. That never happens with tubing mascara. So they don't flake, they don't smudge, they don't give you that smear up here, they don't do the raccoon eyes. You can go all day long and you go and look at yourself at 7 p.m. and there's not a damn smudge on your face. It's the best thing ever happened. Every mascara should be a tubing mascara. End of
mic drop. Okay, show me your favorite. Do you have it handy? Because I'm like, tubing mascara. I don't do
life. They'll change your life. I'm just going to tell you, and then I can't tell you how many women have reached out to me and said, holy shit, thank you for telling me about tubing mascara. It's a game changer.
What does it look like? Is it the type of brush?
No. Nope. It's the mascara formula is different. So a few favorites. I have one from MCO Beauty. They are an Austrian brand. You can find these on Amazon. I have them in my Amazon store. But the brush looks like your Dior show brush, so it's not like the brush looks any different. But the way it goes on is just different. And the way you take it off is different. You don't need eye makeup remover. All you need to do is get your lashes really wet, and then the little tubes will actually expand, and you'll just slide the mascara right off your lashes. And they look like little spider legs. It's a little funky in the beginning. You're going to be like, what the hell is it? It's totally normal. You're not taking your eyelashes out. And you shouldn't feel like you're going to rip your eyelashes out. You want them good and wet, and then you'll just be able to slide the mascara right off your lashes. Nothing, no schmear, no nothing. It'll save your life. You're going to go get one, and you're going to be like, holy shit balls.
I'm getting one right after this.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put a little bit of this brown.
Yeah.
While you're talking, I'm just going to put a little eyeliner on, just this brown pencil. Okay. So why have I never heard of tubing mascara? Well, I'm not a makeup person, obviously. But I can't wait to try. So I'm going to go in your link and like order. Do you recommend brown or black for people that
I think you're so fair, and with your blonde hair and blue, I think the brown is actually really beautiful, because the warmth of the brown mascara will look really pretty with your blue eye too. But I also love, black lashes. They're gorgeous.
I tend to, what I've realized is I'm using more brown these days. Because I'm not using a lot of makeup, so when I wear black mascara, it's like, my eyes are it's too much. So I like the softness of the brown.
Oh yeah.
I have no idea if I'm doing this correctly, but this is kind of how I do my eyeliner.
It's pretty beautiful. Looks great.
That's it. Okay, well, I can't do them now. I'm going to do a mascara that like I feel I don't have, but this is a necessity.
No human should be without an eyelash curler. It's an instant eye lift without surgery.
If I were stranded on a desert island, I would want this and a lipstick and a sunscreen.
Yep. Totally.
Okay.
Let me see. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll back and look at some of your comments.
I love that you're doing that. I love that you're doing that. Hey, you guys, if you have not entered the contest, the giveaway, I'm giving away, well, now we're talking about tubular mascaras, and maybe nobody wants this, but these are two different mascaras by Prime Lash that have hyaluronic acid in it. So it's moisturizing your mascara, your eyelashes as it's lengthening. So that's up for grabs. Just make sure that you comment in the comment section when I post it, and you can invite 3 people here. And then that puts you in the drawing. The winner from last week, which was this amazing giant tub of face masks, was I Am Skincare Girl. So I'll get you that address. And everybody make sure that you follow Jennifer. I'm now like obsessed. I feel like half of this stuff I can throw away.
Yeah.
Now I'm using the wrong mascara, but is there a technique in doing mascara other than get it close to your lash line and wiggle?
Yeah, I like to do the little jimmy back and forth, because then it helps to coat it from a few different angles. Like you're just kind of starting at the root and just wiggling as you go up. It helps to deposit it onto the lashes. Yeah, really pretty. And another trick too is to add an extra kind of like coat to the outer third, because that will also give you some lift, especially if you feel like your eye downturns, or if you feel like you want a little more lift. An extra coat back here to get those lashes a little bit more full will give you that added lift. Really pretty. I'm laughing at all the comments about tubing mascara. Everyone's like, yes, tubing mascaras. Yes, Thrive makes a great one. I like the MCO one. I like the one from Beauty Pie. And I also like the Tower 28 Make Wave mascara. Those are 3 of my all-time favorites.
How do you know if it's a tubing mascara? Does it say it on the...
It's strange is that a lot of them don't like advertise it. Some of them will, like in, the Beauty Pie one says tubing mascara on the tube, but half the time some of these brands don't even tell you it's a damn tubing mascara. You might be able to tell it's one when you read the directions on how to take it off, and it'll say just get the lashes wet, comes off with water. That's typically a good clue that it's a tubing mascara.
Somebody just said I already have one.
No.
Someone said I already have a tubing mascara, but I don't know what I did with it.
Okay.
Is it the It? Somebody said it was the It Cosmetic Hello Lashes. I have it here somewhere. That'll be one that I do not throw away.
I'm not.
You know if that's a tubing one?
I don't know if it is or not. Someone asked, what do I think about makeup trends? I think makeup trends, just like clothing trends, just like anything else, I don't get hung up on them anymore. I get hung up on, do I like the trend? Does it make me happy? Do I feel good wearing it? Period. End of story. So
I like that.
You know, I don't care what jean cut is in now or not in now. If I like to wear skinny jeans, I'm going to wear them. And if I want to wear wide legs, high waisted for the rest of my life, then I'm going to wear them. I think the trend should be whatever makes you feel great about yourself and whatever makes you feel more confident, because when you feel more confident, you walk through the world differently. That's it.
100%.
So
when you feel more confident.
Yeah. When you see a trend, look at it and say, is that something that feels good to me? Like, if I see myself doing that, is it something that I'm gonna spend the time doing? Is it a color that I think I look good in? And if it is, great, then incorporate it and use it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love it. People have commented on my stuff saying, like, just grow old, just stop it. Stop it with all the anti-aging, healthy aging stuff, all the skincare, all the microneedling, all of that stuff. And I think, as somebody who also has a master's in psychology, there's so much psychology behind the aging process. And if you are not feeling great when you look in the mirror, it changes what you do with that day. You are way less likely to plop your ass on the couch in front of Netflix with a bag of Doritos if you're feeling great about what you look like, about yourself in the clothing that is right for you, in the makeup that you like, that makes you look great, in whatever it is. If you feel good about yourself, it changes what you do with that day. I love that.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's the biggest thing. I think sometimes people get hung up on the idea that caring about how you look is a frivolous and vanity thing. And really what it is a confidence thing. And so to your point, like, I know I feel completely different about myself when I throw on like kind of my grubby sweats and I go to Target than I feel like when I've got a full face of makeup on and my hair done. And I just feel like I look fabulous, and I walk differently.
Yeah.
I expect kind of different treatment. You put yourself in an energy of like being a little bit more worthy. So
yeah.
I think there is this psychological thing, and I think that's what I've tried to build my platform on, is the idea of like, yes, tips and tricks about beauty and style, but really, how does that relate to how you feel about yourself? And so when people think of this, they'll send me a message like, what do you think of this on me? I'm like, how do you feel about that on you? Do you love it? Do you feel great? They're like, yeah, I do love it. Like, great, then go to Starbucks. Like, like, go to Target in your sequins. If you love it, go.
Yeah, get out in the world. Well, I'm loving this. The only thing we haven't done is the eyebrows.
Yeah.
I can show you really quickly what I do.
Sure.
I like this. This is by It. It's a brow powder. It's just,
Yeah.
And sometimes I will fill in with the Anastasia taupe. You can tell which side I use. For blondes, the taupe is a great color. Perfect. Right? So I use that with my little brow thing. But if I'm just quick and on the go, I'll just take this little thing, the little pencil. And for me, because my eyebrows are set up high, and you and I both have a nice space between our eyes and our eyebrows. So that helps in giving us that space to be able to put on eyeshadow and all of that. But it also, I run the risk of looking like Ronald McDonald, right? With the big arches of, So I need to bring my eyebrows down.
Yeah. So if you're feeling that, then I would be focusing on creating things from underneath as opposed to up top. And I don't know that I see you needing a lot of like fill in the head of the brow, because you have a pretty, pronounced head of the brow. It's nice and full. Mm-hmm. So there's not, like, for me, if I'm looking at you, I'm thinking just past the head of the brow, and I get the same things. Just that little air, just to give it a little extra fullness there. Yeah.
And then I lengthen this a little bit.
Sure.
Down there.
Yeah.
But I've been using Latisse in my eyebrows for I don't know how long. So I'll put Latisse on my top thing, whatever's left over, I stick them in my eyebrows.
Yeah.
And I do feel, you can tell the difference. Yeah, I do feel that this makes me look a little younger to have it down, to have this kind of brought down a little bit, right?
Well,
But I do feel like it's really filled it
the
in.
full look to the brow overall can be something that looks a bit more youthful. Pretty. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, we're about to like end our little session. I could stay on here. Well, now I feel like I got to get out in the world and do something.
I feel like you should. You're looking pretty fabulous, but you look fabulous before we started. So.
Oh, no, I'm going to create content. I'm going to I've got some stuff to do now that I've got my makeup done. I cannot thank you enough. This is, you're just such a fun, bright, shining light of a human. And I love that about you. And I love that you help us to embrace our age, but also look and feel the best that we can, because we know that that changes us. So everybody who is not a follower of Jennifer Polt Robinson, make sure that you follow her, go to her store and get all of this stuff. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. I don't normally do 2 lives a week, but I want to do a live tomorrow because I'm just going to do all questions and answers. So when you look at when I post this to the regular feed and you tag your 3 people and you follow Jennifer, you will be in the drawing for this, but also the more you comment, the better. So put all your questions there. Tomorrow is just a Q&A. I'm going to answer anything that you guys want to talk about tomorrow that has to do with anti-aging, whether it's skincare or whether it's nutrition and health or longevity, any of that stuff. Thank you so much, Jennifer. It's been such a great, such a nice way to get to know you doing makeup together. And I will continue to be one of your biggest fans as soon as I get all of this shit taken care of.
Thanks for the invite.
Thank you, guys. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks, Jennifer.
See ya.